How much weight can you lose? Are you losing fast? Are you losing slow? You know, I lost 140 pounds and thousands of people have followed me. We have over 200 people who've lost at least 100 pounds in this community. We know something about weight loss back here. And today I am addressing these core issues of, are you a slow loser? And if so, what should you do about it? So we finished up our 14-day challenge in the member-funded area this week, and we got a comment from Estelle, who did not report in. Estelle said, where do I get support for my slow weight loss? It's difficult to hear all of these amazing reports and not feel a little sorry for myself. So I'm sending Estelle a prize anyway because she really began a great discussion. We had a whole mastermind around this, and I'm going to share parts of that with you today. But if you really have been losing slow, is it just the way things are supposed to be? Is there something you need to do about it? This is a good question. How quickly did I lose? How quickly are members of the community losing? In my rapid weight loss phase, I lost 100 pounds in 8 months. My high weight was 280, but I had already lost 20 pounds. And so in that rapid weight loss phase, I started at 260 and I got down to 160. And these weights are important for the story because in the beginning, going from about 260 to 230, I was losing about a half a pound a day. And that was doing the way of eating that I teach on this channel. But it was about a half a pound a day until 230, maybe 220. And then it slowed to about a third of a pound a day. And then maybe a quarter of a pound a day. And in the end, in my last 20 pounds, I was very active. I was not active at all in the beginning portion of any of this, through the middle. But in the end, spring had come and I was out just living my best life. And so was very, very active. And so it's not entirely comparable, but I did continue to lose very consistently, but never at the rate of a half a pound a day that I lost up in the high 200s. And as the Eat Like a Bear community formed, the first couple of Century Bears, people who lost 100 pounds, got there in about 9 months. But at that point, I was not as good a teacher of this, and we didn't really know what we were doing. But as I began to teach the meal model very explicitly, our results improved. And we very quickly had someone come in and just smash my record. She came in at about 6 months to lose 100 pounds. And then it wasn't long, a new record of 5.5 months, of 5 months and 1 week, of 4 months and 3 weeks. But there is a key thing about the people who are setting records in the community, and that is they were coming in at very high start weights. Because the fact is, someone who comes in at 500 pounds is simply going to be able to lose the 100 pounds faster than someone coming in at 250. And the reason is very simple. It takes a lot of extra calories to lug all that fat around. I mean, let's be real about it. We know if we've been at a high weight, how much energy it is to actually live at that high weight. Well, all of that, like lugging it all around, requires calories, all right? And so you can actually eat more at a higher weight and lose faster than someone eating less because you need extra calories to lug all the fat around. That's just the reality. And so you are positioned to set a community record if you come in at a very high starting weight. And so our community record setters were coming in at very high starting weights. And you know what? Good for them, because if you're 500 pounds, you need to get rid of that 100 fast and then the next 100. And so just like someone at a higher starting weight can more easily beat my record, since my high weight was, only 280, 260 when I started my rapid weight loss phase, that difference in body weight is also why my own rate of loss slowed. It slowed from the half a pound a day to the third to the quarter, because my own body weight was going down and I needed fewer calories to lug around the fat because I had less fat. That's amazing. It is amazing, but it's also interesting because then when you get down into the low weights, it becomes kind of a shock that you really need far fewer calories to sustain yourself. And so you really do have to get used to that new normal, because you're used to like not gaining weight at a certain caloric intake. And then you lose all the weight and you say, well, maybe my metabolism has slowed down. No, it hasn't slowed down. You're just lugging less fat around. Good for you. Go out and hike. Go out and live your best. And so this shows clearly why we shouldn't be comparing ourselves to others, especially if we are at a radically different starting weight. There's no way I can compete with the weight loss results of someone coming into the community at 500 pounds. And you know what? I shouldn't. And good for them for being able to lose so quickly. Another factor is your starting health circumstances. And so one of the record holders for our 3-day challenge, that's a little 3-day challenge that we do. And we asked at one point, how many pounds have you lost in the 3 days? And we had a community member who lost 17 pounds in 3 days. 17 pounds in 3 days. Well, you know what? So she had congestive heart failure and had extreme fluid retention. She lost a lot of fluids. Good for her, she needed to. She lost some fat too. But I'm never going to be able to compete with 17 pounds weight loss in 3 days, and I don't want to, because I don't want to have a circumstance that's causing me to hold on to so much fluid that I could possibly lose that in 3 days. And so don't get sad if you don't have enough fluid retention to beat that record. But what if you really have been losing slow? Is it just the way things are supposed to be? Is there something you need to do about it? This is a good question. We have community members on prednisone. Many of them are just fighting to maintain because it is a weight positive medication. It makes you just want to eat your arm off. It is very difficult to navigate. And if you can maintain your weight through a steroid, that is fantastic. And you're not about to set a weight loss record in the community, and that's okay. You're playing the cards you were dealt, is what you're doing. Some people, type 2 diabetes, blood sugar issues, might be a little slower. Are your numbers or your readings, are they better today than yesterday? And if they are, that is the key thing you need to be looking at. You do need to be chasing some weight loss if you're overweight and type 2, but you have many things you can be measuring and watching to help drive your own motivation. But this whole video was inspired by Estelle's comment. And so Estelle said, is there a place to get support for slow weight loss? It's difficult to hear all the amazing reports of people losing a lot without feeling sorry for myself. Estelle has been a member of our member-funded community, The Deep Den, for some time, and she just recently asked this key question. And you know what happens when you put your head up, when you've had your head down the whole time, you've maybe wondered, you haven't asked for help, you haven't gone to our community questions area to ask, because you could. And she came to our member area and she asked, and we did a whole mastermind in her honor with some key points. The first is the perception of the speed of weight loss in the community. And so here's the thing. When people report in or they post about their results or we share them on Instagram or Facebook, this is a huge selection bias situation because the people who've lost a lot, who have these amazing photos, are far more likely to report the results than people who've had more lackluster results, for instance. Estelle has never reported anything. Well, how many Estelles do we have in the community? I would say 95% of the community are people who would probably agree with Estelle and say, yeah, I'm kind of slow too. Why isn't that 95% posting? Because they're seeing all these amazing stories. Now, it's giving them some fire, giving them a little motivation, but they're saying, I'm kind of slow. And so it's even magnified further in Facebook itself, because Facebook has an algorithm where if people comment and, really engage, it will show that post to more people. And so someone who posts in there with this amazing before after photo and says, I just lost 90 pounds in 7 months, and everyone's excited and asking, hey Sue, how did you do it? How'd you do it? And all that engagement makes it more likely for people to see that post. And so the people with just those amazing photos and comments and stories, that will just trigger the algorithm and it gets shown more. And so Estelle is going to see more success stories and more of the very big success stories in the community. And so that is really such a critical point to remember, is that all those things that you're seeing are popping in the algorithm. And for every one of those, there are hundreds of people who had just lost a pound. Or maybe they're struggling to get started. We have a lot of people who've, gone up and down and all around. And so in our mastermind, we had some ladies come forward and just be real about it. Just being real about the actual struggle. And why don't you see more of their posts? Actually, Jackie's story is right here on this channel. But if you haven't seen it, it's possibly because the algorithm hasn't triggered you to see it, but maybe you should follow up and watch it. But there was a huge amount of wisdom in this mastermind.
I did the 14-day challenge, and I had been in overeating land for a while beforehand, so I was carrying a lot of fluid and my weight was really up. So during the 14 days, I lost 12 pounds because it just went whoosh, and it was mostly fluid. But in the last 14 days, and I've been even stricter and really, really strict, I maybe lost half a pound. And that's kind of how it goes usually, unless I'm just first starting out. And I think that in my experience, persistence is the key, and you just keep going and keep going. And if the scale doesn't tell you what you want, then look for other messages. If you're following your food plan and you're being honest with yourself, you're really being honest about what you're eating and what you're putting into your coffee, whatever, what you're putting into your salad, how loose is your clothing, how much better do your joints feel, how much more energy do you have. There are lots of ways to measure success other than the scale. And I've broken a pattern that I've had most of my life. If I'm being really strict and I don't lose the weight, I just throw in the towel and I say, what the heck? I'm just going to eat everything in sight and put back on 60 pounds.
On May 31st, 5 days ago, I buckled down with the help of Ellen because, we're checking in with each other every single day and it's really helping. I am solidly back in the groovy zone right now and I'm losing weight because I'm really up there in weight. So it's coming off pretty fast. But historically, I lose, stay the same, gain a little, lose, stay the same, stay the same, stay the same, gain. It is perseverance, but persevere. And when I get my eating the way it should be and doing as much movement as my body can tolerate, then my brain starts firing off and it's like Epiphany City. I'm always having these huge epiphanies that sort of rock my world. The one that I have for Estelle right now, I realized just like a day or two ago that this is not just a weight loss journey. Absolutely not. This is, for me, a healing first and then weight loss second priority. I'm up there in age and I'm up there in body weight and I have things wrong with me. If you're doing everything that you feel that you should be doing, you're on plan and all of that, and you're not losing weight or you're losing very slowly, I'm looking at it with a new lens, which is my body is healing right now. It's taking some time to heal something, and that's higher priority. I'm more in tune with my body and working. That's always been my goal. Be more in tune with my body and working in concert with my body, because I haven't done a good job of that most of my life. And now I'm really tuned into that.
Now, we were all over the place in it. I even ended up seeing if I could skip. Here you go.
Up on one foot and then you switch your weight to the other foot.
Yeah. Oh, dear God. I don't even know. Okay.
Yes! Yay! You did it!
And a key thing I recommended to Estelle, and I would recommend to anybody, is if your weight loss results are slower than you expect they should be, I want you to do a 3-day food log. It's really easy to take aspects of this for granted and have certain things slip through that might be adding a lot of, calories or whatnot to that meal that you're eating. And at the end of the day, we all do need to be in a calorie deficit for this to work. Now, what we do is more specific than just sort of calories in, calories out, or whatever. I was a 1 meal a day eater. What I eat is very crafted. It's very crafted to be low in carbohydrates, to really fill me up, to be delicious, but very calorie minded. And that meal got me all the way to the finish line because it put the calories in a little box, or actually a pretty giant bowl. And my weight loss salads tend to be about 1,200 calories. I could easily make and eat a salad that's 3,000 calories, and that salad would have me gaining about 10 pounds a month. So what's in the bowl really, really matters. And sometimes we just kind of put some things in there that we really want, and it's hard to see it. And so do a 3-day food journal and drink journal. Anything you're ingesting, put it in the journal. You can show it to us. We can give you feedback. You can put it into an app. The one main thing you can check on it is calories. That's usually the first place to look. And we can help you strategize. I mean, that's what the Deep Den is about, by the way. So anyone who wants just deeper strategy and really pinpointing and nitpicking all this stuff, we're very good at it, super good at it. Because there are maybe things you could replace that item with. So if you have a problematic item, there might be a super great thing you can replace it with. And we will help you figure that out. So we have a public questions area for anyone who wants to ask questions like this. It's thebearfaqs.com. Go in, search for other questions, make your own question. We will come and we will answer it. But people in the member-funded area, don't wait for months without asking your question, without dialing in and getting engaged. That is what we do. That's why you're in the member-funded area. That's what you pay the big bucks for. It's actually kind of little bucks for what all you get, but that's what you're paying the bucks for. Let's get you there. Let's do it. Don't struggle for long without buying a book or two. I hate to see people frustrated and struggling. Yes, what we do is very simple, but some of the simplest things are also the simplest not to do and the simplest to take for granted. And if you are not getting to where you need to be, get the books. For goodness sakes, I spend more every day just popping into, Target or whatever than these books cost.
Let's wave our flags.
These are bingo wings because you go
Bingo!